Okay, Jeff.
Yes.
First of all, you call Frölunda the Powerhouse.
Yes.
Why?
Every year it seems Frölunda's top of the league, winning championships, getting the best players from all over the place. And in North America, for years and years, the Montreal Canadiens were considered, cream of the crop. They'd win 4 Stanley Cups in a row, 5 Stanley Cups in a row, send players to the Hall of Fame. And when I think Swedish hockey, that I think of, the sort of the Montreal Canadiens of Swedish hockey. I get that soap and warm water feeling when I hear Frölunda, anyone mentioning that storied team.
And talking about the draft, and what do people say about Frölunda in draft terms?
In draft terms, I mean, it's an organization that consistently sends high-end players into the draft. And this year is no different. Well, maybe it is different because the #1 pick overall is from Frölunda, and that's Rasmus Dahlin, who's probably going to do to that position defense what players like Connor McDavid and Austin Matthews and Jack Eichel are doing in the forward position.
Can you tell me about the popularity that Rasmus Dahlin has here in the NHL and in North America?
Sure. In Buffalo, they're really excited. I mean, Buffalo's a great hockey market. Buffalo has, they've been to the Stanley Cup a couple of different times, never won the Stanley Cup. It's a team that came into the league in 1970, so they've been close. They've been false started a bunch of different times. And this is, the Buffalo Sabres now going through a rebuild, and it's being built mainly around Jack Eichel, to a lesser extent now Casey Mittelstadt, who comes in here as a pro, as a second-line center. But now with Rasmus Dahlin on the blue line for the Buffalo Sabres, now Buffalo can finally say they have a legit #1 defenseman, and there aren't that many around the NHL. Maybe a dozen, maybe as many as 15 if you really stretch the definition. So in Buffalo, they're thrilled, they're excited, and I think hockey fans across the other 30 markets are more curious than anything else. We've heard about Rasmus Dahlin, we've watched all the YouTube clips, we watch him dance around all the players on Malmo and score, and these highlight goals that we see every couple of weeks from Rasmus Dahlin. And now I think finally fans are excited, A, to see him get drafted, and then B, see him put on the skates and play in the NHL.
What can Rasmus expect in here tomorrow?
It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, this is one of those tentpole days in everyone's career. You always remember that feeling, the butterflies you have, whether you're going first overall or not. It's a special feeling, and he'll of course be here with his family to share it. It's going to be exciting because it's a huge day for a really good fan base in Buffalo, and a really good organization with an excellent owner who has very deep pockets and isn't shy about spending to improve his hockey team. Like now that Rasmus Dahlin is a member of the Buffalo Sabres along with Eichel and Mittelstadt, you're starting to see the building blocks of what this team's going to be like for 10 years, and Rasmus is a huge part of that. So you're starting to see the beginning of what's going to be a long journey now for the Buffalo Sabres as they take that march back to respectability.
So he is, so to say, super important to Buffalo.
He's super important to Buffalo, certainly. You know what, though? He's not just super important to Buffalo. I mean, certainly from the team point of view, he is. But what Rasmus Dahlin is he's a new age defenseman. Once upon a time, 100 years ago in hockey, there was the rover position. Is he a forward? Is he a defenseman? And then that position, went away with a couple of other positions, namely cover point. And we haven't seen someone play like Rasmus Dahlin in the NHL, maybe ever. He was a forward, as you all know, since he was up until the age of 14, and then he became a defenseman. And when you look at him play, you say to yourself, am I watching a defenseman play forward? Am I watching a forward play defense? Because he tends to do a little bit of all of it, and he does really well. And normally when you see high-skilled players like that, they shine offensively, but defensively he's sound, and he's not shy about stepping up on a player either. He loves it when it's physical as well. Like everything you want a defenseman to do in the new age of the NHL in the year 2018 is exactly what Rasmus Dahlin does. So this is huge for the National Hockey League, not just for the Buffalo Sabres.
So if you say in 5 years, will he be the one to stand out from this draft class still then?
Buffalo Sabres win the draft when they say Rasmus Dahlin, and I think 5 years from now when we go back and redraft it, I think we'll be saying the exact same thing. The Buffalo Sabres got the first pick right. Rasmus Dahlin is that. There's Rasmus Dahlin in this draft, and then there's everybody else.
Thank you.
My pleasure.